My name is Martin Head. I'm the manager of the OPAL National Soil Centre. OPAL stands for the Open Air Laboratories, and it's a big project which is funded by the National Lottery. And the aims of OPAL are to allow people, or to encourage people, to get outdoors, to explore nature, to become more familiar with the environmental issues and so on. To allow people to do that, there are 5 national surveys that are going to be run by 5 centres, and the Soil Centre is one of those 5. The aims of the Soil Project are to allow us to investigate different soils in different habitats or different areas around the country. It's an England-wide project, so I probably should point that out. Particularly, we're interested in looking at the bioorganisms that inhabit the soil. Behind me you can see a couple of people who are carrying out a test, and what they're actually testing is a field pack that we've put together, and we're doing some final trials now to see how effective it is and how easy to use the pack is. As part of the soils testing that they'll be doing, they'll be looking at different characteristics. So they'll be looking at, for example, very simple things like the colour of the soil. We also ask them to smell the soil to see how earthy it seems and whether there's any scent of things that shouldn't be there, pollution and so on. And we get them to do a couple of chemical tests as well. So we ask them to try to give us a rough idea of the acidity of the soil by using a pH strip. This is a strip very similar to the ones that are used to look at water pH values. We also ask them to look to see if there's any calcium carbonate present in the soil by just dropping a few drops of vinegar onto some particles of soil and seeing if it fizzes. So it's not that accurate, but it's a bit of fun, and it at least allows people to get some appreciation of different characteristics of the soil. We're quite interested in the permeability of the soil, how easy it is for water to pass through for obvious reasons, mainly to do with pollution, but we're also looking at the ability of soil to hold water. While they're performing the soil tests, we also ask them to collect any earthworms that they find. And of course this is the main bioorganism that we're interested in looking at with the soil tests. So part of the instructions that they have allows them to collect the worms, put them to one side, and then try to identify them later with a newly developed key, identification key, which has been put together by our colleagues at the Natural History Museum. Part of the process of the survey allows people to submit the data that they collect to a national database. So they log on, they upload images of the locality, of the earthworms they find, the soil and so on, as well as the data from the tests and the earthworms that they find. They're then able to log on using the unique IDs to look at their own results locally, but also in a wider context. And then we are also able to access the site as administrators and download raw data for us to use for analysis. So specifically, of course, we're looking at areas of anomalies or reported instances of pollution and other issues.